Read the stories below and answer the prompt that follows. After reading the two stories, which are on the same topic, which story would you like to read more of? Why? Have two or more reasons. Did you prefer reading the story on the left? Probably not. It was short, it was boring, and it definitely wasn't very exciting. You probably preferred to read the story on the right. This piece has more description. As the reader, we're able to get an idea or an image in our head of what the food court looks like. It's definitely more intriguing. You may have even noticed that the author used figurative language. Today, we are going to focus on figurative language in our writing. This will make our writing more exciting and more descriptive. Please go ahead and go to the notes section of your notebook and write down figurative language at the top. Then I'd like you to write the letter A on the first line. Here you're going to see 4 sentences. Please read these 4 sentences and then where you wrote down A, write down what type of figurative language you think this is. Please pause the video and start when you're ready. This is an example of, if you said simile, you are correct. Remember, a simile uses like or as to compare two things. What I would like for you to now do is I'd like you to go to your personal narrative. I'd like you to underline a simile that you wrote in your personal narrative and write an S next to it. If you don't have one, can you find a place to add it? If so, please do that. I would like for you in your notes to go ahead and write B. Please read these 4 examples and write down what type of figurative language you think these examples are. This is an example of a metaphor. Remember, a metaphor is a direct comparison. It does not use like or as like a simile would. Go ahead and go to your personal narrative. Double underline where you wrote a metaphor. Write the letter M next to it. If you didn't, where could you add one? Go ahead and write down the letter C. I'd like you to read these 4 sentences and try to determine what type of figurative language this is. This is an example of personification. Remember, personification is giving a human quality to something that is not living, like a table, or maybe to an animal. Personification is one of the easiest, most fun, and descriptive ways to write. Draw a square around one personification that you wrote and write the letter P next to it. If you don't have one, where could you add one? I would now like you to write down the letter D in your notes. Please read through these examples. What type of figurative language do you see here? These are examples of hyperbole. Please remember that a hyperbole is a figure of speech that's an exaggeration. Well, how do you use hyperboles in your writing? Think about when you're describing feelings, size, amount, or time. Those are always good spots to exaggerate. What I'd like for you to do is I'd like you to highlight your hyperboles in pink. What you are now going to do to get some additional practice, because it may have been hard to write figurative language in your narrative, is you are going to look at some student work and you are going to work with other students to try to make this writing more descriptive and interesting by adding figurative language. So you're going to find the 5 stations and you will add figurative language into these. When you are done, please come see your teacher.